There's a map for that. Well, hey there, geographers. It's Angela. How's it going? I am here to help walk you through this assignment. And this assignment is specifically a discussion. So it's a way that we interact with each other online and create a really strong online learning community. But first and foremost, let's learn about maps. Why are they so important? Well, listen, if you say like there's a map for that, you're like, well, yeah, I've heard that somewhere before, kind of rings a bell. Well, because a lot of times what we say is there's an app for that, right? There's an app to get fit, there's an app to eat well, there's an app of how much water do I need to be drinking, what do I need to get at the grocery store, or that just helps us organize our lives, right? Well, geography is very much the same way. It's the most visual subject on planet Earth. And a map is a tool that we use to communicate information as geographers. And as you can tell, I am a totally self obsessed geographer and map lover because most of us are very visual learners, and maps are an opportunity to learn visually without having to read. Not that I don't like to read, but I sure like to look at maps a little bit better. But with a map, think about anything that you're interested. Are you interested in food? How about shoes, art? Let's say, for example, you want to know what the most popular grocery store is, department store, if you're interested in criminal justice or population pairs, or are there any Black artists in the United States? And if so, where are they? There's a map for that. There's a map to communicate any sort of thing that you're interested in. But in physical geography, it's time for us to figure out how to find a map that communicates something within the physical world. Like, for example, if we want to show a map of where we have areas in the United States that are in drought, or maybe not as receiving as much snow or rain that they used to be, well, we know that's already happening in the Western United States. We have deserts that are getting bigger. We have Southern California that's receiving less and less water by the year. How about a map that shows the warming of the oceans? Oceans have become a few degrees warmer just in the last 5 years. What does that mean? Well, things that live in the ocean are going to have to start living somewhere else. It also means that our range for creating hurricanes just got bigger. How about the amount of CO2 in the air? We can find maps that represent that. Hey, if you're into gems or crystals, show us a map that represents where you can find things like where's there oil left in the world? How about pretty minerals? How about those rocks that they use and put in our iPads and our phones? Where are those located? Make sure that when you upload this map, you're uploading a map that's communicating something, some sort of information. There are also are maps that show us how to get from point A to point B. Those are called reference maps. Please do not upload a map of just say like Colombia or just of Mexico. Make sure that you're uploading a map of Mexico. Show something that's being communicated within Mexico. Like, for example, if someone is working at factories in Mexico, those factories are pumping out really, really gross gases. Maybe map where those factories are because it will show how the people who live around them are being affected. Make sure that your map is communicating some sort of information. So, for example, in the example that I've given you, the Sierra Nevada mountains in California provide the majority of the state's water supply. Without the Sierra Nevada, life in Southern California would not be possible. The water that comes from the snowmelt from the Sierra Nevada travels hundreds of miles to Los Angeles through an aqueduct. The unfortunate part is that the change from, let's say, 2017 to 2020 is that the amount of snow that is actually held and frozen within the Sierra Nevadas is getting shorter and shorter and lower. That snow is now turning into water. Why does that matter? Because the amount of water now is becoming evaporated. Whereas if it's held as snow and snowpack, it melts throughout and brings us through spring and summer and brings us water through the times where we just don't have any rain. we're getting less and less snow. So now what you're going to do is you are going to find a map that you think is interesting and represents or communicates some sort of data that you think is information that is interesting. It could be about plate tectonics, the San Andreas Fault. It could be about volcanoes in Japan, like the Sendai Daiichi Fukushima nuclear after the tsunami in northern Japan. Something similar to that. Show maps that are communicating something to us. Now, in your discussion, after you post your map, make sure that you post your map so we can all see it. This means that you are not posting just a link to your map. So when you come down here and you click reply, you're going to make sure that you have your map totally viewable for all of us. The next thing is that if you would like to answer these questions, you can do so in written audio or video format. So it doesn't mean that you need to write the answers to these questions. This goes for all of our discussions. You can also answer these questions in an audio or video format. So you click on this button right here that looks like YouTube with notes. It gives you the option to click record. You can come down here, and if you don't want people to see your face, click webcam and click no video. And then you start recording. What are you recording? Your amazing, beautiful voice and your answers. And then you upload your map and your answers. People get to look at your beautiful map and hear your beautiful voice. It's awesome. That's what learning and being able to learn online is. It's a little bit more flexible. So what are you doing? You are uploading a map or two maps that communicate something that you find interesting within physical geography, earth science that has to do with any of these elements. These are just an example. Again, make sure that you are not just uploading a referential map like here's a map of Canada, here's a map of California. It needs to be communicating something. It could be communicating the amount of farms that are in the Great Valley of California, or the difference in river flow between summer and winter, or where do you grow, anything that you find interesting. Why do we grow tomatoes in Mexico during the winter, not in California? Show a map of that. Then you're going to make sure that your map is viewable and not connected by a link. Then you're going to answer these questions located here. You're going to do this either in written audio or video fashion, just as I've showed you. And then you're going to click submit. Then in the next few days, you're going to be commenting on your classmates' maps and their discussion pieces as well. So I hope you have fun with this. And just remember, when in doubt, there's a map for that.